Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric. And I was telling myself I was not going to make a video about Universal Beijing because I've not been there, and I should not talk about the rides until I go there. But darn it, the park seems so interesting and I'm a big Islands of Adventure and Universal fan overall, so I really wanted to give my thoughts on the rides. So I'm going to give a ranking based on my anticipation of how good I think each ride will be. Before we get into this ranking, please subscribe to the channel so you know when new coaster content releases. So, a few things I want to point out. First of all, these are based on my past experiences on similar rides and what I know about the rides. So, another thing is spoilers for all of the rides on this list. I may be showing footage of them and POVs, so just keep that in mind. And the final thing is that this is not a ranking of how good the rides are, in my opinion. It's how good I think they will be. I know it's kind of a weird list to do because it's not really based on how much I like something. It's not really a full opinion because I haven't been on them. But I did want to talk about these and my thoughts on them. So, I'm going to be doing just that. We have 13 different rides to rank. Let's start from the bottom. Number 13 is Super Swirly. This is your standard spinner ride. I do not really expect this to rank high on my list. I would imagine it being very, very close to the bottom because it's just a spinner ride. And given that one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish is pretty much the bottom at Islands of Adventure for me, I imagine this would be in the same fate. Number 12 is Carousel of Kung Fu Heroes. Essentially the same story where Carousel at Islands of Adventure is the second to bottom, and this carousel would probably be the same thing. As it's a small family carousel, certainly a fun one for kids, but it would not rank super high on my list. Number 11 is Lanterns of Legendary Legends at the Kung Fu Panda area. This one looks very nice, especially if you're looking at it as you walk by, but it is also a bit of a different spinner ride, so not a whole lot to it. Not much else to say about that one, honestly. Number 10, Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. I have been on the Despicable Me Minion Mayhem at Universal Studios, Florida, so I already have an opinion on this one, really, as I imagine this is the same ride just in a different language. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's basically the most forgettable and mediocre ride at the resort in Universal Orlando, and I'm sure it's definitely going to be a fun one for kids and fans of Despicable Me stuff, and I like Despicable Me, honestly, but this one just doesn't have a lot of motion to it, a kind of lame story, and while I'm sure the queue will be very nice in this one, I'm not super excited for it, and I imagine it will rank pretty low on my list when I get on it. Number 9 is Loop-de-Doop-de, a cute little family coaster in the super silly fun land part of the Despicable Me area. It looks very nice for a kiddie coaster. Nice little theming, a bit of decent thrill. It'll be good. I definitely think it should rank a bit low, but you know, it's a kiddie coaster, so of course it won't be too high for a thrill seekers list. Number 8 is Bumblebee Boogie. This is like Stormforce Acceleratron, but with like a really awesome Bumblebee statue in it, so that's cool. And I like Stormforce. It's one of my favorite teacup-based rides because it spins quite a bit. It's a bit thrilling, it's in a nice Marvel area at Islands of Adventure, and this Transformers area, Metro Base, looks very nice. So I do think it should rank a bit higher than some of the other family-type rides, and I think it looks fun. And also the name Bumblebee Boogie is kind of fun too, I just want to point that out. Number 7 is Flight of the Hippogriff. At Islands of Adventure, this does not make my top 10, so it does show that this ride isn't quite a lead upon opening. You obviously wouldn't expect it to be, but I just wanted to quickly point that out. And Flight of the Hippogriff is a fun family coaster. Its restraints are not that great in Florida, so I hope they fix that. But the area around it is beautiful, it looks nice, and I'm excited for this one to be in another park. It's kind of a staple ride of a lot of the Universal parks, but the key thing is it's not much more than a family coaster, and given that this is number 7, so right in the middle of the list, it shows that there's not a ton of amazing rides at Universal Beijing upon opening. But now we're getting to the really good rides. Number 6 is Transformers Battle for the Allspark. This is just going to be Transformers the ride from Universal Florida or Hollywood or also Singapore, and I've been on the Florida one. I like it, don't love it. I think the visuals are a little too dark and gritty compared to the fun, colorful ones of other rides that use the same ride system. Not enough practical effects, but the ride system is fantastic and it is a fun one. I think this will be a slight improvement for me, because since I do not know any Chinese languages, I will not be able to understand the words anyone is saying, which will mean I can solely focus on the epic scale of giant robots fighting each other. And I think that'll make the ride more fun for someone like me. That said, it's virtually the same ride. Number 5 is Kung Fu Panda Journey of the Dragon Warrior. This looks like a fun boat ride. The screens actually look really strong on this one. And while the animatronics do look cheap, I'm personally not super against that, as limited movement animatronics not a huge deal breaker for me. I don't really mind if an animatronic's not the most high-tech Disney kind of thing. Not every animatronic needs to be Kylo Ren or the shaman from Pandora. And I think this looks like a really fun ride with a decent drop, and I like Kung Fu Panda, so this will be one of the top rides. Number 4 is Jurassic Flyers. This pick may surprise some, as currently the ride is lacking in dinosaurs despite being themed to a dinosaur tour, but it does look good, I think. The rock work on the mountain is beautiful, and you go by plenty of scenic views. It looks really nice. And the launches seem powerful enough, and I like the ride system, the inverted power coaster. The way the cars will spin is good, and while I think they need some dinosaur animatronics or maybe even just statues, you just need to be able to pass some dinosaurs in the ride. I think if they do that, this could seriously be close to Hagrid's level. Not quite, but it will be a good ride if they add that, but for now, it still does get 4th place. Number 3 is Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. This is another ride I have ridden before, and I think it is good, but I do not think it is quite as elite as some people say, which is why it only falls in 3rd place. I like the practical effects on the Florida one. I love the queue, the facade of Hogwarts Castle, the ride system is unbelievable, and the parts where it's dark and those practical effects are just really good. I've always thought the screens just looked off, and the parts where you're in front of a screen, obviously the movement is limited, and that just kind of takes away from the ride experience, and those parts really slow down the whole thing. And the fact that I will not know the language being spoken might take away a little bit, because there's some iconic lines in this, like, we haven't lost anyone yet, not this week anyway. That was always a fun one to listen to. That said, it does still look like a very strong dark ride, and certainly a top 3 in this park. Number 2 is Decepticoaster. Given that Hulk next to Velocicoaster is my favorite ride in Universal Orlando Resort, you may think this would be number 1. And it's close. This looks like it's almost exactly the quality of Hulk. The elements look a bit tamer, but it also looks a bit smoother. Hulk has a little bit of headbanging to it, but it's also a really intense, awesome ride. The soundtracks on both are fantastic, so they look equally great. The launch tunnel for this one looks way cooler in my opinion, and I think both are great rides, and that is why Decepticoaster definitely deserves a high ranking at Universal Beijing. It was really close to getting number 1, but I had to give the number 1 spot to Jurassic World Adventure. Oh my god. I think Disney is shivering at this one. This looks like, without question, the greatest dark ride in the world. I'm sorry, Rise of the Resistance, but I really think I would like this better if I got on it. I haven't been on Rise of the Resistance either, but I really think Jurassic World Adventure looks like the greatest dark ride of all time. My current favorite is Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. For its fun, atmosphere, and its great one-liners, and the ride system's amazing, and the screens look great. This one may not have the same fun energy of Spider-Man, but it uses the ride system and the effects even better. This is where I'm going to get into spoilers for that ride. So, first of all, you have many dinosaur animatronics. They look huge. The POVs, I've seen unbelievable, beautiful animatronics. I haven't seen like whole parts of the ride before, but I've seen footage of the animatronics. They look amazing. And that's not usually a huge deal for me, but they just look unbelievable. The screens seem like they will be just as well realized, if not better, than Spider-Man. And the practical effects will be much more a focus than Spider-Man, which is good, because I prefer practical to screen always, even though Spider-Man's screens are unbelievable. The ride system's always great, and even though this one doesn't have you flying in the air like Spider-Man, I think the ride system will still be used really, really well. The story of the ride seems great and easy to follow, even with the language barrier. And honestly, I just think this looks like the ultimate combination of Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man and Jurassic Park River Adventure. It takes the best elements of each, multiplies them tenfold, and it's making modern Disney attractions just look mediocre in comparison. I'm sorry to all the Disney fans out there that I've definitely offended, but this is the game changer in the industry. Universal Creatives has gone above and beyond with this one. I haven't been on it yet, and I really would like to, but I don't see myself getting to Beijing anytime soon. So what does the future for Universal Beijing hold? We don't know. But for now, we have a really, really great lineup of rides, and it looks amazing. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment your thoughts on Universal Beijing down below. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.